Hello and welcome to the Real Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA Radio. This is your host, Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor. And you know that every time I do a show like this, my goal is to bring on some amazing guest speakers so that my audience can get a very well-rounded education when it comes to mortgage note investing. And that's what my show is about. We're about creating passive cash flow from real estate without owning the real estate, right, folks? Get that. So, if you're one of those people out there that's been a landlord and you know the headaches that can bring, and if you're one of those folks that has been a part of stock market investing your whole life and you know that the ups and downs happen there, you maybe were one of the folks that got a little bit wiped out maybe 2008 because you were heavily invested or over leveraged in physical real estate property. So we know all these folks, and hopefully I'm hitting a tone with some of you listeners out there because man, oh man, are you in store for a great show today. But before I go any further, let me just remind all you folks, my show is about opinions and stories from myself or my guests that are on this show. Don't misconstrue this as investment advice or investment solicitation or any type of legal advice. We always recommend that anybody who gets into any type of investments ever to make sure that you know what you're doing, and especially seek some real legal counsel and get the proper advice before you go investing in any money in anything. So this is just stories and things like that for entertainment. But boy, today's show is going to be so awesome because I'll tell you who has a lot of great stories about investing. And that is going to be my guest on this show today. His name is Desi Arnaz. Yes, the Desi Arnaz, just like the actor. Desi Arnaz, very memorable name, very memorable gentleman. But boy, are you in store for some great information today on going from being a standard investor or a singular investor, I guess you can say, and then transitioning and growing your investment business into becoming a fund manager, a manager of a real fund. Now, me growing up, well, I'll tell you, I was born in 1979. And I grew up in sort of the best age of Hollywood, I guess you can say, over the years. And I always thought that a fund manager was just some fancy dude in a pinstripe suit behind a cherry wood desk in a Hollywood movie. But it's not that way, folks. Anybody can become a fund manager. And that's what we're going to talk about today, that transition, what it looks like, and why maybe it might be the right move for some of you investors to perhaps start a fund, right? And we're going to go through that with my guest, Desi Arnaz, today. And I'll bring him in. Thank you so much, Desi, for being a part of the show here today, coming on to share your time and your wisdom with my audience. And like I said, these folks are in for a surprise. If they don't know Desi Arnaz, they're about to. And boy, let me tell you something. He has so much wisdom to pass along that I love having him on my shows. I love having him as a business partner. We're partners in a few aspects, including the Everly May Capital Group. And so I wanted to feature you, Desi, because you have quite an extensive story. And we can get into a little bit of your background when you come in and introduce yourself here and just tell them, what all the stuff you've done in 40 years, which led you to note investing, which now has led you to become a fund manager. So the floor is yours, my good friend.
Hello, Patrick. Well, thank you so much for having me on today on your show. I'm excited to be able to speak to you and share my story, a little bit of my story with your listeners. And hopefully somebody will pick up some value there and maybe even some inspiration for their own lives. Because what we do, Patrick, is pretty darn unique and it's pretty exciting and it's very liberating. So I'm excited to talk about it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then Des, so that people kind of just get an idea of who Desi Arnaz is a little bit, right? We want to tout you for all the latest accomplishments in your life, but you've had a life like everybody else, and you started being an entrepreneur or getting into some investing in these kinds of things way back when. I don't want to toss your age out there to people, but boy, the guy has experience. He looks 40, but he ain't. He's got over 40 years of experience doing this stuff. So just give him a little background who Desi is and how you arrived here today on this radio show.
Well, I'm not 40. Thank you for saying I look 40. I really appreciate that. I'm 70, Patrick, 70 years old. Just celebrated my 70th birthday on a cruise ship about 3 weeks ago. So I'm excited about that. Was a lot of fun, by the way. I'm excited by that. And back in 82, I got started investing in real estate, like a lot of people, maybe even some of your listeners, right? And my goal was at that time was very simply, I wanted to create some passive income, you know? I wasn't really looking to invest for equity growth or anything like that. I just wanted cash flow because even 40 plus years ago, I knew that cash flow was king, right? And I knew that if I could get enough passive income coming in from my rental properties, life would be good. And so that's what I was after. And so I started investing in real estate, and it was a good thing. I never loved it, but it was okay. It's what I knew, right? We do what we know. And I did that for 3 decades. And then I discovered notes. And that all happened on the 4th of July, 2013. I remember it because I was up that day. We were going to go to the beach. My wife and I were going to go to the beach here in Southern California. And I was up early, as I am on most days, surfing the internet. And I came across a guy who said he owned mortgages on 400 condos in Florida. Now, for me, that was like, whoa, really? Because this was just a guy. And he looked like he was in his 30s or so. It turns out he was. And I thought, how in the world did he get all those mortgages? And so I actually reached out to him, and we were able to develop kind of a relationship over time. And as it turns out, anybody can buy a mortgage. And that was news to me, Patrick, even though I had owned a Century 21 franchise and I had owned 2 different mortgage companies by that point. I never knew that I could just go and buy a mortgage, buy someone's mortgage and have them sending their mortgage payments to me every month. And so since what I wanted from my investment portfolio was cash flow, when I saw it, I didn't have to think twice about it. When I heard this story, I thought, wow, you know how some people, they got to try to figure out, is this a good thing? Immediately, I knew, because I already had more than 30 years experience in this space as an investor. And I knew instantly, this is what I've been looking for, Patrick.
Yeah.
And so I jumped in with both feet and started learning this business and started investing to buy notes, investing a little bit of my own money, which I didn't have very much at the time. But I did put what I did have to work in the note space. And then I just started talking to some friends about it and bringing them in, and they started buying notes, and it just kind of grew from there. So today,
Des, when we're talking about this, right, this may be the very first time somebody's ever been a part of listening to my radio show. And some people may right now already saying, what are these guys talking about, owning somebody's mortgage, or what is this note investing thing?
Yeah.
Can you help break it down for people, just in case this is their first time? What are we talking about? Maybe something easy that people might understand, right, Des, which is,
okay,
you can own a rental property and put a renter in there and start collecting rent. Or you can own someone's mortgage and there's a homeowner living there paying you a mortgage payment. What's the difference? And since you have such vast experience now in both, what is attractive? Why would somebody say, well, maybe I had to take a look at this note investing stuff?
Yeah, excellent question, Patrick, because that's what I had to ask myself, right? Because I was going to transition from being a landlord to being a lender, so to speak, owning mortgages. And I had to ask myself, what's the benefits? Well, as I said earlier, I never liked being a landlord. I mean, I did it, but I never really liked it, because you got to deal with tenants. You got to deal with vacancies. You got to deal with the property. You got to deal with the neighbors. You got to deal with the neighborhood, everything. When you own the building, everything, it's all an issue for you. And at the end of the day, hopefully, after collecting rents and paying all the things that you've got to pay, insurance and maintenance and repairs and whatever, and the mortgage payments, right? Hopefully, you have a little money left for yourself. That's called positive cash flow. And so that's what I wanted. I didn't want all the other stuff, but in order to get the positive cash flow, I had to have all the other stuff like tenants and toilets and all that stuff, right? When I found mortgage notes, I realized I could actually get the cash flow without all the other headaches. Because if you think about it, Patrick, a piece of real estate that has a mortgage on it actually generates 2 cash flows. And it dawned on me after I got into the space. It generates 2 cash flows. One is called rent, The other is called interest. The landlord gets rent and the bank gets interest. Okay. The landlord collects the interest for the bank and then sends it to the bank. And from the landlord's rent, not only does he have to pay the bank the interest, but he also has to pay for maintenance. The landlord does. They have to pay for repairs. They have to cover vacancies. They have to buy insurance. They have to pay taxes. All of that comes out of the rent. But let me ask you this, Patrick. When you send the mortgage payment to the bank, what has to come out of that? Really nothing. You know, I heard crickets, right? Because nothing. and that's what I love. And I thought, okay, so if I'm collecting the mortgage payment and they send me $1,000, it's $1,000 in my pocket. If I'm collecting rent and they pay me $1,000, it's not $1,000 in your pocket, right? So that's the big difference. One gives you freedom and one gives you a job. When I was a landlord, I saw that as my job. You know, it's one of the things I did. So that's the big difference. But let me just make sure everybody understands what I mean by a note and a mortgage, because I use those terms interchangeably. When a person buys a piece of real estate in this country, they can pay cash if they have enough money, and they'll get a document called a deed, and that means they own the real estate. However, if they don't have enough money to pay cash, Patrick, they have to go and borrow that money. They normally go to a bank or a mortgage company and they borrow the money to buy the real estate. And then they still get the deed. However, they sign a document, 2 documents with the bank to say, basically, when I sell this house.
Oh, you know what, Des? Just before you get too far into this, right? We're going to take our first commercial break here just for a moment. And I know if you're listening, you're not going anywhere, because as soon as we come back from this break, we're going to get more with Desi Arnaz and why this note investing stuff is awesome compared to maybe physical real estate or being a landlord. And we'll have more when we come back in just a few minutes. See you in a minute.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Wade and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Wade is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewade.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Hello everyone, I am Lynette LaRoche here at Fabulous Lifestyles Foundations Radio Show. So excited to have you here with us. We have so much to offer you, and we have amazing guests that we bring on every Sunday. So we want to make sure that you tune in on KCAA Broadcasting Network, because remember, this is all about having a fabulous lifestyle, and it can be yours to be had. So tune in every Sunday to Fabulous Lifestyle Foundation Radio. And we also have other radio shows that would be of interest to you as well in fashion, fun, and finance. I am Lynette LaRoche, and remember, you need to build a house before you can bring in the furniture.
Folks, welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate Radio show here on KCAA Radio. I'm your host, Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor, and I am back with my awesome guest, Desi Arnaz, professional investor turned fund manager. And we're talking about these mortgage notes. And right before we left for the break, it was like, why maybe mortgage notes might be something you want to take a look at to collect passive cash flow from real estate without owning the real estate, right? Forget about the headaches of being a landlord, the bad tenants and the toilet calls or the leaky faucets and all this other stuff. We get rid of that by owning someone's mortgage and collecting mortgage payments with interest every month versus rent payments with headaches every month. But Des was just breaking down, what's this idea of how this mortgage note, the promissory note, and why do we call it a mortgage note, right? It's because it's a promissory note backed by a mortgage. And that's what Desi was getting right into. And I'll let you continue with where you left off on that, Des.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, I can get kind of long-winded sometimes. But I'm so passionate about this. And I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what a mortgage is. Basically, a mortgage and a promissory note, think of it this way. You borrow money to buy the real estate, and then you sign two documents. One document says, I agree to pay you back the money that you loaned me. That's called a promissory note. It's like an IOU, right? I owe you money and I will pay you back. But then in order to put some teeth into the IOU, you pledge the real estate as collateral. You say, if I don't pay you back, you can take my house. And that's basically what a mortgage says. In legalese, a mortgage says, if I fail to pay you, you can take my house. And so that's what a mortgage and a note are. And when I use these terms, I use them interchangeably. So when I buy a mortgage, I also buy the note. When I buy a note, I automatically buy the mortgage. Okay, that's all that was.
No. Yeah. And it's awesome, guys. So what we're talking about is taking someone's promissory note, the debt they owe on their property, and we're investing in that. And we're taking over this debt from a bank, from a fund, from whoever owned that mortgage payment prior. And we're able to buy this type of an investment and put a mortgage, someone's mortgage in our portfolio versus another rental house. Yeah. And so can you imagine, folks, the idea of there's a homeowner living there. Some of you folks who are homeowners know about this because as a homeowner, you've had your mortgage transferred on you from bank to bank. You've gotten a letter in the mail that said, hey, Wells Fargo is no longer who you pay your mortgage to. Now it's Bank of America. Well, that's called a mortgage transfer by way of the letter we receive as a homeowner. But in the background, the bottom line is Chase or whatever bank sold your mortgage to a different bank and they took over the remaining payments of your mortgage. And that's what we're doing on what they call the secondary market. So Desi was finding out years ago, it was like an epiphany. It was like, wait a minute, we can own someone's mortgage with a homeowner in place versus own another rental with a renter in place. So we forego a lot of the headaches and issues that can come along with being a landlord, but yet we're still getting the cash flow, which creates financial freedom.
Right. Right. Patrick, I've never been more free. And you know what else is interesting too? I owned a bunch of rental houses. Well, to me, it was a bunch. I had 28 doors. Okay. That's some houses. I had 2 4-unit buildings and some condos, and I had 28 tenants. There was always something going on that I had to do. You know what I mean? Always. Now I have more than 100 mortgages, and I hardly ever have to do anything. I meet once a month with the people that help me service my portfolio. Once a week for 1 hour, and I've got it all covered. So literally my investment portfolio takes 4 hours a month of time Whereas when I was a landlord, 4 hours, give me a break. I mean, it took me that long just to sometimes unclog a toilet. You know what I mean?
4 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this is just so much better. And people don't bother me when things break. And so for me, it was a really, really good fit. And so I transitioned over from being a landlord to being what I know you've called a lien lord. Since mortgages can be a lien on real estate, you call us a lien lord. I thought that was a pretty accurate title, and I like it. It's kind of cool too.
Yeah, lien lord, loan lord, whatever it may be, right? But
yeah,
it's just an awesome investment vehicle. And I hope for the people that have just listening to my show for the first time that you understand this, what we're talking about owning someone's mortgage and collecting mortgage payments every month with interest very passively. Because guys, if you're a homeowner and your roof leaks, whose responsibility is it? Yours. If your toilet breaks, whose responsibility is it? Yours. If your faucet leaks, yours. If it needs a paint job, yours. If the landscape, yours, because it's your house. You're in charge of that physical property, right? And those are the headaches that we take over when we become a landlord. The renter's not in charge of doing anything. The renter's in charge of calling you to say, hey, the toilet's broke, fix it. Yeah. Now, when you're collecting someone's mortgage payment, you don't ever have to go to their house and fix a toilet.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Notes, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station, KCAA radio.com.
You're listening to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Ricky Perry, and we are affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and Sports, where we broadcast over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. If you missed our previous shows, you can watch us on our streaming networks on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and the Android app.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
Alrighty, folks. Hey, thank you so much for being patient. Man, those were some wise words of wisdom from our commercial sponsors, weren't they? Absolutely. But we're back. Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor, Real Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA Radio. I'm with my guest, Desi Arnaz, professional investor, transformed into fund manager. And right before the break, we were just talking about how Desi was venturing into raising OPM, other people's money, at some point to start building up his note portfolio larger and faster than he could do with his own financial means. And that's how it all got started, right, Des?
Yeah, that was it. And what I found is that people started, I want to say it this way, people started throwing their money at me. When they learn about notes, they're like, wow, this sounds great. I've got money. And I found myself really kind of almost in another job, just trying to find more notes to buy. And we're buying these notes individually, and I'm preparing all these individual partnership agreements and working with lawyers and all that stuff. And it just got really hectic for me. When at the end of the day, what happened, what my partners wanted, they just wanted a good return. They wanted someone else to handle all the work, right? And that's what they wanted. And what I wanted to do was buy more mortgage notes. And so I learned about something called pooling people's funds together, right? Where you take a little money from this person and this person and this person, put it all together, But in order to do that, there are some legal hoops that you need to jump through. You need to dot all the I's and cross all the T's to stay compliant. And so I decided that I would look into that. And it led me to a securities law firm that prepares documents so that investors like myself can pool people's money. And that's called a fund. And that's what I do now, Patrick. I manage a fund.
Yes, and I noticed you have the logo right behind you, right? So your fund is called Everly May Capital Group.
Yes,
the Everly May Capital Group. And so, you know, what Desi's saying here is that, you know, he grew his personal investing business to a point where he needed to go after other people's money and get partners and those kinds of things to grow his portfolio more and more. But you start to think then that's doing onesie twosies. That's finding one note investment to get one financial partner involved with and having to repeat this process over and over. And if you've gotten to that level, there's really only one way we could see, right, that you could grow or level up that business that was already very successful. And that is not just do one asset and one investor partner and manage all that, but it was to try to pool a whole bunch of people's money together so that you as the professional, you as the fund manager with all of your expertise in the note investing profession could be a good steward of their money, but have more money at your behest to be able to buy maybe larger quantities of these notes, maybe pick up larger portfolios of these notes rather than just buying one at a time. Is that right?
That is exactly right, Patrick. You nailed it. And it also gives me the ability to buy larger notes, we don't just have to buy little houses. We can buy mortgage notes on commercial properties. We can buy mortgage notes on skyscrapers. You know what I mean? We can really play at another level because it's not just me and my buddy Joe and his money. You know, it's all of our money together in a pool, in a fund. And so I have a $20 million fund that I manage. That was the first fund. We have two funds now. The first fund was a $20 million fund, or is a $20 million fund that I manage. And that fund is primarily investing in notes and doing some private lending. And so that's a big part of what I'm able to do now. I'm able to buy in larger bulk. I can walk into a bank and I can say to them, look, I can write a fat check if you guys want to sell me a bunch of mortgages at a good price, right? And I get mortgages at better prices now than I ever did when we were buying them one at a time. And that means there's more profit in it for me and all of my investor partners.
Yeah, I always laugh at people shopping for groceries at Costco versus the grocery store, right? Yeah. You know, save money, buy in bulk. It's always funny to leave Costco with a 17-pound jug of peanut butter. But, you know, you saved money, you bought in bulk. But same thing goes, right? If you're going to buy one note at a time from maybe another note investor, a fund manager who holds notes in their fund, a bank, a credit union, you're buying one note at a time. First of all, it doesn't move their needle enough to think you're special. And their pricing is going to be at the highest because you're only buying one. It's the same thing of buying small bulk in life. If you can buy larger bulk, you can save money on the purchase. And that's what you're saying you were aiming for when you started a fund. Mm-hmm. Now that's exactly neat because as a fund manager, as a professional like Desi, you have this expertise, and to grow the business, you need to have more money at your behest. So this is what it looks like from a fund manager's position, right? Desi, from your spot, you're saying, hey, I'm an expert at this. I'm good at it. I got it dialed. I'm doing good for my investor partners. I'm doing good for homeowners. I've got my systems in place. How can I grow? I need more money. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what it looks like for the fund manager, because now you have people pooling money into your fund that you're managing those dollars and being a good steward of their money and trying to make profit for themselves, for the investors in your fund. Number one concern. Mm-hmm. And number two, if you're good enough at it, there's going to be extra profit that you get to keep as the fund manager. And that's the incentive, right? Desi's incentive to himself is, hey, if I do a good job running this fund for 7 years or so, hopefully I make enough profit certainly to pay back my investors what they're owed and plus their returns, but also there should be some extra on top of that because you're so good at doing what you do to where that's when you really get compensated at the end of the day. Now, but how does that look for an investor, right? So there's the investor side, folks. Like, you're an investor. Well, hey, maybe these guys talking about mortgage notes, I had to study up and become a mortgage note investor. Certainly you can. And it is much more passive than it is to be a landlord, but there's still a ton of education that goes into place. There's still a ton of knowledge. There's a ton of legalities. There's a ton of terminology. There's a ton of things you need to know to be a real professional note investor. It's kind of like me saying that I want to learn how to pull my own tooth because I have a rotten tooth. No, I'm going to let that be handled by my dentist. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the pro. I don't want to pull my own tooth. Well, somebody listening to this may say, well, gosh, maybe I don't want to pull my own teeth and try to become a professional note investor. Maybe I just want to work with somebody who's already a pro. They've got the connections, they've got the knowledge, they've got all of this. And maybe they don't want to invest in one note. Maybe they want their money to be diversified in a fund. So what does it look like for an investor, rather than them try to be the pro and do everything themselves, or just trust somebody maybe like yourself that has everything dialed and they can just put money in the fund? What's the difference? What does it look like? Why is it attractive maybe to an investor?
Well, because it has a very small footprint in their life. Most people today are pretty busy. Can we agree on that?
Oh, goodness gracious, more than ever.
Yeah, most people are pretty busy. And so they don't really want to go back to school to learn how to invest in notes. They like the idea of note investing. They get it enough to say, yeah, sounds like a great place to put my money or my retirement or my savings or whatever. But I don't know even where to buy a note, or they say, I don't know how to vet a note. I don't know how to conduct due diligence. I don't know how to price a note. I wouldn't know if I'm getting ripped off or not. That's where I step in. And I say, look, I've got all that dialed up. All you've got to do is write a check and put that check into our fund. Our fund owns hundreds of notes, and now you instantly profit from hundreds of notes. You own a percentage of every single note, right? So you instantly profit from hundreds of notes, and you leverage my skill set, my contacts. I mean, it's the ultimate leverage tool for you as an investor. And you get good returns, right? Our investors get really good returns. And by the way, they know what those returns are before they ever write a check. Right? We always disclose the returns right up front. So that's a powerful place for people to be. Completely passive, good returns, secured by real estate.
And it's diversifying their capital. Like, it's more of a safety net too, because that old term, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Well, if you invest $50,000 of your money out of your IRA or 401k or what have you, and you invest that money into one single note investment, great investment. In our opinion, better than buying another rental property and putting another renter in there. So yeah, owning these notes is fantastic. But if you put 50 grand into the one note deal, no telling what will happen to that one asset. Money can be lost in the note investing space. There can be expenses, timing issues, all sort of things that go along with that. Now, if somebody took that 50 grand and put it into something like the Everly May Capital Group, that fund, that 50K is now protected or diversified amongst, like you said, hundreds of assets that are in the fund portfolio. So your eggs aren't all in one basket, and you're not just dependent upon what happens with that one singular deal. Yeah.
Right. And there's going to be some of these assets that do super well. Like you said, you can lose money in any investment, obviously, right? Otherwise, it's not an investment. But for the most part, notes are very, very safe, but it's possible to lose money. But it's also possible to make a windfall profit too. And in the note space, windfall profits come in the form of foreclosed properties, early payoffs, things like that, which I won't get into today. But just know that there are windfall profits and there are possibilities of some losses. But when you aggregate it over 100, 200, 300 mortgage notes, overall, it's wonderful. Our investors love it. I had 2 calls this week for people saying, I want to put more money in. Literally, Patrick. They're like, I'm already in for like 100 grand. I want to move more of my money out of the stock market over there.
Well, it looks like for them, right? They put the money in. They respect your and your management team's knowledge and expertise to be good stewards of their money, to churn it into profit for them and you. And they just write the check, and then they start collecting checks every quarter. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Every 90 days, we send them out their share, right? Yeah. Of the earnings. And so they love it. It's good. It's a win-win. And, their biggest concern is like, the fund that we have right now, one of the funds that we have is only a 7-year fund, and everybody's already asking, so when that 7 years is up, are you going to do another one? Let's keep this thing going, because it makes sense, Patrick. It makes sense.
Yeah, and we're gonna go quick here to another commercial break. Sorry to say, not sorry for our our sponsors. They need their time, but Des, when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about how the fund and becoming good at the money business and understanding how to run a fund and these kinds of things over the last couple of years have spawned some other opportunities outside of notes that now Everly May Capital Group is involved with, which can even better the returns of the fund. And we'll get into some of that exciting stuff right after this break. So folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the Real Men of Real Estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m. live, every Sunday. Okay, we're going to be on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. You know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Hey folks, welcome back once again here at the Real Men of Real Estate Radio show on KCAA Radio. Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor. I'm your host, back with my amazing guest, Desi Arnaz. Right before the break, we were just talking about how becoming a fund manager, having a little bit more deployable capital at your behest, can allow you to buy larger bulk quantities of these mortgages, get better deals on them, and so forth. And we're still rocking that game with this Everly May Capital Group. There's tons of opportunities still coming up in the next 3 to 5 years in this note space. Another big flood of inventory coming based on what happens with these markets and the real estate market, the banking institutions. We won't get deep into that. But one of the cool things, Des, is that when you start to get in the money business, surround yourself with the right people, get the right counsel, start dotting your I's, crossing your T's, you become a fund manager. It's amazing along that journey how other amazing opportunities come your way and they get presented to you. So I know that Everly May Capital Group is going to be killing this note business over the next 3 to 5 years. There ain't no doubt. But also other opportunities have presented themselves, which maybe you wouldn't have been in place to accept these opportunities if you weren't a fund manager. Expound upon that a little bit.
Yeah. And that's something that I did not see coming too, Patrick, but you're right. You mentioned the money business, and it's kind of dawned on me that I got into what I thought was the note business, but the truth is I'm actually in the money business. Mm-hmm. You know, initially I was just raising money from friends and family. Now I'm raising money from the general public through our fund, but it's still the money business, right? Other people are saying, hey, here's my money. let's do some deals together. And what that has led to is this. It's funny how when people know that you have money, they track you down. You don't have to go looking for people when you have money. They find you and they bring you opportunities. And because I'm in the money business now, I have opportunities to invest in projects that I never would have had an opportunity to do if I were just a landlord, you know, and certainly if I were doing on a smaller scale, onesie, twosie mortgage notes, these opportunities would not have presented themselves to me. But by forming this fund and pooling our money, I've been offered opportunities. For example, Patrick, right now, there's a fast growing county in Florida called Brevard County, right? It's one of the fastest growing counties in the country. And Florida is one of the fastest growing states in the country. And there's this town called Palm Bay, which is one of the fastest growing cities down in Florida. And we were able to pick up some properties down there, some vacant land. And now we've been brought into an opportunity to build 300 apartments down there in Palm Bay, right in the path of progress, 10 minutes from the Space Coast where they're launching all these rocket ships. That area is growing so fast, it's amazing. And we're right there, right in the heart of it. So that opportunity would not have come if I hadn't started a fund. And I didn't see that coming. And so what I like to say to people is, look, just get yourself started, put yourself out there, get yourself started, because you don't know where it's going to go. You certainly can't have a crystal ball, but that is true. And we're looking at other projects too. We may be doing a development here in Southern California where we'll build a small subdivision. We're already partnering in the development of a multifamily apartment complex in Texas. We just have a small piece of that. We have a piece of other developments all around the country because we're in the money business. Huge. It's huge. The opportunities are huge.
It is huge. I mean, it's like this. I always say, you know, if somebody, for most of us, if somebody came to you and had the most amazing opportunity on the planet, and they said, all you got to do is come up with $2 million in 60 days. I don't care how awesome the opportunity looks and how beneficial it could be for you. And you know, the listeners are sitting here going, yep. I don't know who the heck I would pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I need $2 million. Can you help me out here? And it is difficult doing that. And it almost seems impossible. Now, if you got $100,000, okay, $100,000 from what, 20 people?
20 people.
20 people. Now you have the $2 million to accept and move forward with that kind of an opportunity. And so that's what we're getting at, folks, is that Desi had an extensive career. He's been a real estate agent. He's owned Century 21 firms. He's in the mortgage business. He had 28 rental properties in his quiver at one time as a landlord, found out about notes 2013, shifted gears and got himself into the space, started small, buying some small notes with his own capital. Realized real quickly that there's so many notes out there to buy and so many great deals to be had that he can't buy them all because he doesn't have enough of his own money to do so. Goes and transitions to talking to friends and family about the beauty of note investing and all the great things that it can provide over the stock market, maybe over their current growth in their IRA or 401k, and then starts to attract some money from others, friends, family, colleagues, to start buying up more notes. Then gets big enough to say, well, gosh darn, I wish I had more money at my behest to be taking some larger pools or larger quantities of these notes down in larger purchases and not just buying one at a time. Then it was like, well, let's start a small fund. And it went to there. And then because you're a fund manager now and you have access to money, that opportunities start to come your way. Mm-hmm. And so some opportunities have come your way with the Everly May Capital Group to build 300 apartment units right in the path of progress in one of the biggest growing cities in Florida. Mm-hmm. Huge. And private lending opportunities, land entitlement deals. I mean, it just starts to flow and it almost becomes like the snowball effect, right? And it becomes easier and easier, folks, the larger you grow, right? And so that's the position Desi's in right now. And Desi, I mean, you know, we can't go over everything in this short show. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you after they listen to this and they said, gosh, I want to pick that guy's brain about becoming a note investor, or maybe I want to pick that guy's brain about what it looks like to invest money into a fund, or how do I utilize my IRA money to make investments? I don't know how to do that, or any of this sort. How would somebody reach you, Desi, if they wanted a quick 5-10 minute consultation?
Well, the very best way to reach me is to just give me a call or shoot me a text, you know, and Can I give my phone number here, Patrick?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, my phone number is area code 951-551-0087.
Folks, that is Desi Arnaz. His personal cell phone number. Come on now. 951-551-0087. Again, 951-551-0087. You can contact Desi Arnaz, professional investor, fund manager. He's got a wealth of experience, 40 years worth, folks. He's a wealth of knowledge. And so if you have any questions about maybe how do I become a pro note investor, or what does it look like to invest money into a fund, or any questions you have about his background, or any way he can provide to you any information or service, I know that's what Desi is all about these days, serving others, providing ways where people can become financially free and break out of this rat race we're stuck in. Right, Des?
I'm glad you said that, Patrick, because that is my passion. I think that my calling is to help people become financially independent.
Boom.
Because you don't have to stay broke, not in this country, not at this time. You just need to have the right vehicle. And I just found it at Notes. And so I feel a passion about telling people you need to be looking at this space seriously.
You heard it, folks, right there from the source. Desi has a passion for serving others, teaching people what he knows and how to break free of the rat race and earn yourself financial independence. Hey, now, can't get any better than that. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Thank you, Desi Arnaz, for coming on and sharing your wisdom with the audience. And folks, I will just let you know this. I wish and I hope that you enjoy the rest of this wonderful Sunday. And we will see you next time right here on KCAA Radio. We're out of here. See you next time.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the Real Men of Real Estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m. live, every Sunday. Okay, we're going to be on KCAA Radio. 10:50 a.m., 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. You know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
The Legacy. Southern California's KCAA, the #1 talk